Feels like a rocket launcher. The Tesla video.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to our day 5 of webinars. So, today we'll be traveling to another part of Canada. Yesterday we were in Toronto CBD. So, today we are moving little westwards towards Manitoba. We are with University of Manitoba, International College of Manitoba. So, it's a buzzing town in Winnipeg. And I have with me today, as all the 4 days, Utkarsh, Regional Student Recruitment Manager, North India Navitas, and Genia from ICM. Genia is ICM representative who's consented to join us today. Thank you very much, Genia. It's too early in the morning for you, so still you've come in. Thanks for that. And welcome to our day 5 of webinar, where today we'll be discussing your product, your home, Manitoba and International College of Manitoba. So when generally people think of Winnipeg, they think Winnipeg state is very cold, and Manitoba should be cold, middle of Canada, nothing to do, nothing left, nothing right, nothing on the top, nothing on the bottom, everywhere ice and snow, everywhere that thing. But I think there's a lot more to do in Winnipeg than people think. The people who haven't visited, there are a lot more to do. And
For sure.
over a period of time, I've seen the guys who have studied there in the universities or in the colleges, they have been rather more successful because the cities are not as big as Toronto or Vancouver, and the guys coming from small cities, they tend to flourish more in small cities. And it's easy to settle down. Say little better on your pocket, and opportunities are there, and I believe Canadian government wants people, more and more people, to go and live there in these kind of provinces. The affordable costs there, living costs are less, university costs are less, and they say it's in U15. This university sits in U15. I like to ask more about this during the course of webinar also. It's
Okay.
the same group as UBC or University of Toronto is. I like to get some more information from your side during this webinar about this U15 thing.
For
So
sure.
let's start the proceedings. I'll start with the Genia, with you. As I said, the first reaction to Winnipeg is hesitation, cold, remote, very less people, very low population. But what's the real picture? Because I like to hear it from you. You are there, you've been working with Manitoba for last 4 years, so you know it best.
For sure, for sure. So I've been living in Winnipeg myself for the past 15 years. Oh, sorry, for the past 11 years. I moved to Winnipeg in 2015. And I can tell you for sure, it's nothing what you just described. So it's not just an empty land and, cold city, nothing to do, nothing up above or anything. It is in the middle of the country. That's true. That is completely true. We are, and we have always been, a hub which is connecting country east to west, north to south. So for things like, and I mean, we will be talking about, I'm sure about this, but for things like logistics or supply chain management, this is a great place to actually be and study. But basically, Winnipeg is a vibrant city, very, very diverse in population. We have communities from all over the world coming into the city to settle. It's been rated one of the Canada's best places for young professionals and for young families and for newcomers by Globe and Mail, which is one of the major publications in Canada. That was the rankings in 2023. I do not believe we kind of went down by a lot. We were number 3. Now we're, I think, number 4 in the most recent ones. It's actually have been ranked by that same publication as the 3rd most livable city in Canada. And that is something that you kind of, when you take into account the cost of living and then the competitive, like the city itself and how much is happening in the city every single day, you will understand why it's one of the most livable cities. It's compact, so you don't need to have a car, for example. You can just, drive or take a bus everywhere. So you are saving on gas, on insurance, and on parking, for example. So it's affordable. There's lots of housing available, lots of places to go eat. I think we have more restaurants per capita than any other Canadian city. Like there's lots and lots of places to eat. We have festivals going on pretty much every maybe other day. winter or summer regardless. So it's very vibrant, very livable city, and young people do enjoy to actually come and study here. So that is the true opinion. I'm myself an immigrant, so I came myself as well.
Ijia, can I ask how is the summers? I've heard that it's a long daylight, like 16 hours or 15 hours. Just during
Yeah,
the summers, you get a big daylight time, and
yeah.
it's somewhere around 18 degrees, 19 degrees also during the
Actually,
summers.
it's more. It's more. So the
Okay.
summers in Winnipeg is one of the most well-kept secrets of Canada. So we are in the prairies, so that's the flatlands. We don't have mountains covering us, and that means that we also don't have cold weather coming from the mountains. So in the summer, we actually have high temperatures of like 30s. I left on June
Okay.
11th. The temperature was plus 30 in Winnipeg. So
Okay.
uh, yeah, it's really like really hot summer usually. So and then yeah, the daylight is really so from like 4 a.m. up until like 10, 11, you would have the large day of sunshine. Yeah.
Generally, please tell us more about this U15 thing and how does it help in more visa success rates and students'
Right.
PR pathways? How does it help in that?
For sure. So that kind of goes into the University of Manitoba, right? So I'm from International College of Manitoba, and that is the international college based on campus of the University of Manitoba. So the end goal of students coming to study with us is to get the degree from the University of Manitoba. So students would ask, why would I go to even though Winnipeg is a great city, but why would I go and study at the University of Manitoba? So one of the best things about it is the U15 university. So students do know about Russell Group in the UK, for example, or Ivy League in the States, or the Group of 8 in Australia, for example. So those ones are the research-intensive universities of a very high standard in other countries. U15 is the same, or the analogy of that for Canada. So it's the group of 15 research-intensive universities carrying out the most kind of output into the scientific world. So as you guys mentioned, the other members of U15 would be University of Toronto, McGill, Western, UBC, like all of those major universities, and University of Manitoba is among those ones. So for students, that status means that they're being taught by very good professors who do research, and that's how the ranking kind of becomes that U15 standard. They have the facilities to actually study in a good environment, right? So like labs and libraries, all of those things. Degrees are directly tied to the economy. So whatever students study will then be applicable in the environment that they're going out to. Like I mentioned, the supply chain management, right? Like us being the hub in the country, like on the crossroads of the railroads and the trucks. So students studying supply chain management will be well equipped to go and then be employed in the real world. Or students studying agriculture, for example, agribusiness or agri-food business. That's a huge thing in Manitoba. Again, we are the food province, right, of Canada. So yeah, degrees that are provided by the University of Manitoba lead to employment. And also students, while they are studying, have the option of actually getting the Canadian work experience through the co-op education. So that's like when students in the last 2-3 years, they would do one term of study, then one term of paid work experience, one term of study, one term of paid work experience. And through that, they can have at least 1 year of work experience in Canada.
So
I would
basically,
just
this U15 brings University of Manitoba into the league of the top universities of Canada and uh, PR friendly for the students also.
Exactly. So for sure. So the good education is always has been something that opened doors, right? So you have the good education, that means you have lots more outcomes than people who do not have the good education. So that is exactly right. So U15 opens a lot of doors for students, for sure.
So
And
let's get to the
honestly, the
yes, please.
situation of the Canada is changed right now. That's real. Like all the students, all the parents who are listening this, they need to understand the situation that was there 2 3 years back. Now the entire situation has changed. Primarily, the postgraduate work permits are changed. The rules are changing. They are tightening it. Now, PR pathways, they are tightening it. And that's where the university comes into the picture, where they say, international students came in, and University of Manitoba or ICM, it's a public institute. It's a
It is, yes.
U15 institute. And
University of Manitoba.
PGWP, yeah, from a public university, it remains the strongest post-study work option in Canada,
The
primarily.
degrees from the University of Manitoba, for sure, they're all
Yeah,
PGWP
yeah,
eligible. Yes, by all
yeah.
means, yes.
And right now, the students who are struggling are the ones mainly who went to a private college, did a diploma or
I
any
see.
under-resourced institution, because then again they have those restrictions that they only can study in their only selected field of domain and they
Right.
can't
Yeah.
change. So all that benefits is given by a U15 public institution.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk about some programs now offered by ICM. So students watching today should be paying attention to this. Uh, what kind of programs are being offered at ICM leading to University of Manitoba?
For sure. So we have the 7 pathways that lead to 7 different faculties of the University of Manitoba. That's not all of the faculties that the University of Manitoba has, but we've kind of selected the most, let's say, not say popular, but the most comprehensive kind of range of programs, so that the students, whichever subject that they want to study, we pretty much have that for them. So one of the most popular programs for us would be the business. And that is something that I've learned that Indian students are drawn to quite a lot, the business path. So within the business, you can study accounting, you can study actuarial mathematics to become the part of the insurance infrastructure, for example, or you can study business analytics, which is the IT side of business, the software to help business work. There is entrepreneurship and innovation. There is supply chain management that I mentioned and logistics. There is marketing, and there is global management program as well. So that's the business side of things. And I can sing songs about Esper School of Business and how good it is. You can, maybe the one thing that you should know is it's AACSB accredited, which means that this is top of 5% of business schools in the world. Like, this is the best business schools that exist in the world. Then another faculty or another pathway is the science pathway, and that is the whole host of different science programs, from computer science to genetics to microbiology to mathematics to physics, astronomy to psychology to chemistry. So there's like lots and lots of whichever you want to do. Probably we have that for the sciences. Within engineering, there is 5 engineering degrees that will be available once you're done with ICM, and then you go on to the University of Manitoba. You could do biosystems, mechanical with an aerospace option. You could do civil, so that's your construction, and there's also electrical and computer engineering as well. Then there is arts, which is like arts and humanities basically, but that is your economics, your psychology again, sociology, criminology, film, political studies, linguistics, labor studies. That would be the arts and humanities within the Faculty of Arts. There's also recreation management and community development, which is another program that you can have. And lastly, there's also the Faculty of Environment, Earth and Resources, where you can study geography, environmental studies, environmental sciences. And one of the very popular programs is agriculture and food business, where you would do agribusiness, agriculture, food science, soil science, and also there is a program called Human Nutritional Sciences, which is the first step for students who want to become registered dietitians. They will have to kind of continue their studies within that field, but that degree program would be their first step in that path to become the registered dietitian.
This agriculture and food sciences course, this excites me a lot because back in North India, agriculture is the primary activity, and
Yeah,
not all the universities offer this.
yeah,
Since there has to be some specialized faculty for this, some specialized
yeah,
practical opportunities for this, only then these programs can be offered. So
yeah.
tell me specifically something about this program. What kind of career pathways are there, and what is special around Manitoba for this?
For sure, for sure. Well, as I said, we are the food province. So among there's the three prairie provinces, which is Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. That is where the wheat grows. That's where the corn grows. That's where there's animal production. So everything around agriculture, and that's not just farming. In fact, farming is just maybe the tiny, tiny piece of that. But then everything from the cultivation of soil, and then the seeds, the fermentation, the fertilization, the machinery that works the farms, and then from gathering the crops, and then from manufacturing, preserving the foods, like making frozen French fries. Like chances are, if you have a French fry in McDonald's someplace in the world, it comes from Manitoba, because we are the producers of, I think, one of the largest world producers of frozen French fries in the world. And then, stuff like logistics of transporting those goods into the stores across the country or across the ocean to other countries as well. That is all agri-food business. And if you look at Canada altogether, the most recent data is that 1 in 9 jobs in Canada is within that agri-food business. It's a very, very attractive field to kind of, study and then probably be employed at. In Manitoba, I believe, I do not want to give you the incorrect year, but there was 4 jobs for each one post-secondary graduate in agriculture, in this agri-food business. So abundance of jobs, because it's important. We need the farmers and all of the process that goes around it. But also think about this. There's agriculture and food science, but every agribusiness needs a business person as well. So there's agribusiness as a actual degree that you can study. You can do marketing for agriculture. You can do accounting for agricultural firm. You can do sales for agricultural firms. So there's a lot of professions that come, you work in that field, but you may be studying something else. But yeah, agriculture as a degree is really prominent because this is Manitoba, it's our thing. We do the food, right?
This fact changes everything. 4 jobs per graduate in agriculture sector. That changes everything. And Janelia, may I request you to check your mic? There's little disturbance from your side. I believe it moves when you speak.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I'll try to hold it like this. Yeah, my bad.
That should be fine. So, and then very regular question which every parent asks or student asks: why should I go for a pathway when I can go directly to University of Manitoba?
Mm-hmm. For sure. Okay, so I can give you my own example. I used to be an international student myself on an exchange program in the States, and at that point there was no such thing as a pathway, and I had to figure everything out myself, basically. And for a student who is 17, which I was at the time, it's quite challenging. Okay, so the support system that the pathway programs provide is maybe one of the most important things. But aside from that, so University of Manitoba, being the U15 university, it's quite demanding as the entry requirement goes, right? So usually the requirement would be in the percentages of 75, 80, whereas ICM as the pathway will accept students with a slightly lower grades. So whoever have not met the requirements to go directly into the University of Manitoba can still have that chance of getting into the U15 university through the pathway. Additionally, University of Manitoba has a requirement of mathematics in grade 12 at secondary level to be able then to study math or sciences at the university level. And sometimes it happens that the students in India do not have the grade 12 math. So with ICM, through the pathway, they can pick up that foundation mathematics while already taking the university level courses. So they don't lose time. They already study their university first year courses, but they also pick up foundation math. So that's another thing. We offer small classes, which again, for international students coming from a different background, is a better thing than the large classroom where you have 100, 200 students in one lecture hall. Our classrooms are 30 people at max. We also offer longer class time, so students can work through the course content at their own pace. Again, English being the second language for majority of them, well, pretty much almost all of them, right? And then we also offer all sorts of support. support, as I mentioned. So from personal advising, like, where do I buy a bus pass, or where do I find the food that I like, something like this, right? To the academic support. So how do I structure my program? Which courses I take? When do I take them? To transition to the University of Manitoba. So when do I apply for the second year? How do I do that? What is the process? So all of those things as a support for students who come in is really valuable. So that's why students choose ICM through instead of going directly. Usually that's slightly lower entrance requirements, either language or academic, or they need the extra support that comes with the pathway program. Yeah.
Any input from you, Utkarsh, on this?
I think most of this, like Virginia has covered fantastically. I think one thing I could recall is the ILS system that ICM has. So it's like an integrated learning skill
Oh
system
yes,
where
yes, that
every
is perfect. Yes,
student
yeah,
needs to enroll into. Like so,
yeah,
basically, just the key highlights of that is so Indian classes and Indian students. The more expectation is the teacher will talk and we will just listen and don't question. Canada is the opposite. The professors
yeah,
want you to discuss.
exactly.
So that kind of structure is provided in those ILS classes where they teach you how to discuss, how to start the conversations with your professors. Second thing is the Canadian essay writing thing. How do you write your
Yeah,
own thesis? How do you research about that program? Very well covered. Third thing is like I know it's not a good thing, but we are a little weak in time management. So the basic time management courses are covered in this ILS system where there are multiple assignments opened up. Now the
yeah,
student has to manage them simultaneously and they teach you. So
yeah,
if you go to the university directly, 200, 300 people, if you are passing, you are able to understand the subject or not. Professor won't come to each and every student and teach you, and they don't know if you're struggling or not. Here, it's like one mentor is assigned to you even before, like a month before you join. They know what do you know or what do you need, and they are well in touch with you. Again, you can use the library. Plagiarism again is a very important thing when you're making assignments. They tell you how to check the plagiarism, how to avoid it, how do you learn from the internet. So I think this again adds a lot when you land up there you understand the importance where you see other students are struggling. And again, we are there handheld because it's a big cultural change, especially for the person who is visiting any abroad country for the first time and studying
exactly,
there because the systems
exactly.
change.
Exactly, yes. Everybody in there is an international student, and we understand that that's all international students who need to kind of be brought up to the same level as the Canadian students. So that first year within the pathway is exactly that. You learn how to study, and ILS is that perfect course that the students take to learn how to behave and how to be successful in a Canadian academic environment. Exactly. And then by the end of the first year, when they are transferring to the University of Manitoba, they are fully adjusted, fully prepared to be successful in Canadian classroom. Exactly. You're right.
Great. So now, when a family visits us for counseling, they come and discuss the things. I always tell them just don't plan for the tuition fee, plan for the full expenses. Just see out what are the living expenses gonna be, what are the other additional expenses which your kid is gonna spend while he's there in Canada. So if you are fully aware, you plan properly, then you will succeed. Chances of success get multiple times. So, tell us something more about the fees, the scholarships, the living expenses. What can we expect in Manitoba?
For sure, for sure. Well, one of the things, again, my kind of history as an immigrant, when I was looking into the places to actually come and live in Canada, we kind of decided to come to Winnipeg specifically for the affordability of this place. It's not to say it's cheap, it's affordable, right? So cheap will be like, you don't have quality products or anything. Not that's not the case. It's just an affordable place. So and also the University of Manitoba, even though it's the U15 university and highest standard, it does offer really affordable fees as well for international students specifically. So if you're looking at the academic program, the International Year One program, you are looking at 23,000 Canadian dollars per year for the program. And then the cost of living, again, depending on your lifestyle and your preferences, that can vary. But if you think about, your um, the good example would be living on campus in residence, because that gives you the idea of what kind of overall spendings would be for the student. So your room, your meals, your internet service, your utilities, so things like water, heating, electricity, your phone plan, your let's say books, and your kind of entertainment type of thing on campus, that comes to about 20,000 Canadian dollars per year. That is the on-campus type of thing. If you live in a homestay, or if you say rent with somebody, like as a you have friends there, you can rent together. That would be about 16 to 19. So that is the overall kind of thing, right? So it's really, really affordable in Winnipeg. And then, in addition to the affordable fees, we also offer entrance scholarships to students at the moment. So whoever wants to apply for the September or the January next year will have the scholarship of $2,000 kind of to take away. So it reduces the tuition fees for the students. Yeah.
What we discussed during the past 2 3 days, when we compare living costs and the tuition fee also with the universities based out of Toronto and other cities, this
Hmm.
is quite different. This is, I
Yeah.
would say, again, not the word cheap. It's quite economical, quite affordable. Uh, can you walk us little more through all this? Why Winnipeg is generally more affordable? Because what we learned in Calgary was even more expensive than this. So, what does this
Mhm.
practically mean for a family? How does things happen there?
I honestly don't know why it's more affordable. This is kind of what it is in the city. Like I don't know how this kind of comes about as the fee structure. But I was looking at the rent, for example, just recently for another type of session that we had, and I looked at the rent in Toronto and in Vancouver, just for the the sake of comparison. And the rent in Toronto is twice as expensive as us, and then Vancouver is about three times as expensive as us. This is, well, historically, these are the larger cities, like more people coming in, there's more pressure on housing, the rents go up. So we have maybe less people. We are about 850,000 population of Winnipeg at the moment. So there's less pressure on housing, and the city is expanding all the time. Like if you go on Google Maps and use that little tiny blue thingy that walks the streets of Google Maps, you can actually
Yeah.
see that around the university there's high risers popping up. So they're building apartment blocks, which will be then used by the students to live in. So you know it's available and it's affordable. So that's what it is. Like I don't know why, but this is the reality of Winnipeg. That's why I love living there. Yeah.
I think, Mr. Trivedi, it's more about competition, like in Mumbai, let's assume in India, where the population is the state is densely populated, or the city, just like Delhi or Mumbai or any Bangalore, like a metropolitan. We can compare it directly to Toronto, where the population is so huge that the living costs increases absolutely, like it skyrockets. But just if you move a little far away towards Winnipeg, not so flooded with people, and that's where the opportunity comes in, where a student can find its own space. That's the first thing,
Yeah.
but mainly find their own identity, so that they
Oh,
can
for yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
in that place. Yeah. So they can make their own identity in that place because the competition is so less.
So there lies the opportunity in all of this. I see when you compare Toronto, Vancouver, or Manitoba, the living standards is not there's not much difference in the living standards. As Janelia told us that there are 4 jobs per graduate in agriculture sector. So that's a place where the guys should be, where the students should be. That's pure value for money.
It is. So yes, as if you count, the cost of education in a good university, right? I mean, there may be other places which are not as reputable as the University of Manitoba. So when you count the tuition fees for international students, and then when you add the living costs of Winnipeg, which are very reasonable, that is like long term, it's a great investment, right? Like it's a smart investment. So you're putting in not a huge amount of money, but then you get in return quality education and then the lively place to live. And as you were saying, Okarish, as regards the making your own identity, What I
Sure.
love about Winnipeg is how diverse it is and how many communities are represented, like the nationalities. You don't have to become Canadian, right? You still keep your own identity as well. Like you take the best of the Canadian world, but you also still kind of retain your identity. And students from India, when they come, they do have that support of the large South Asian community, which is already in Winnipeg. So they kind of have the support of their familiar thing, but they also have the exposure to the Canadian thing. So it's like the best of both worlds, basically. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and I think there's a Gurdwara also in now Winnipeg, because I was reading it somewhere. So like Gurdwara is the temple for the Sikh community
Oh yeah,
from
yeah, yeah,
Punjab.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so it's
yeah,
it's already there in
yeah,
Winnipeg.
yeah.
Generally, may I request you to come in the center frame? Your frame is little on the left side.
I am on the left side.
Yes,
Sorry, sorry. Oh,
yes.
oh, my
No,
bad.
that's
Okay.
great.
I don't see
Okay.
myself. Okay.
So, see, when somebody decides to go and study in a foreign country, well, there are so many good institutes back in India. The education system is not that bad. It is good also. So if somebody is spending so much money going to a foreign country, say, if I say somebody's going to Manitoba, they are spending about $22,000 a year on the tuition fee. They
Mm-hmm,
expect some outcomes. They expect outcomes that are better than they would have studied in India. So return on investment,
mm-hmm.
please throw some light on that.
For sure. Well, we already spoke about agriculture, right? And how popular that is. Like one in nine jobs in Canada altogether is within the agri-food business. The tech industry is also, well, the programs that are at the University of Manitoba can lead to employment in the tech industry as well. Um, there is business and management programs like finance, for example, or actuarial mathematics, because a lot of insurance companies are headquartered in Winnipeg. For example, Canada Life, which is the one of the major insurance companies in Canada, has headquartered in Winnipeg, and there are others as well. So that's also like financial advising. For example, there is Investors Group, which is like a large financial advisor for the wealthy people. That's also in here, and that's headquartered in Winnipeg, so you can do that as well. There's also gaming sector. So if you do, like game design, for example, Ubisoft is located in Winnipeg. If you go into, again, supply chain logistics, there's Amazon facility in Winnipeg. We also are a hub for life sciences, and I believe there's over 400 different companies within that. Uh, I may have misspoke. I'm not sure, but there's like a lot of life science companies in Winnipeg as well. So if you do anything related to, biochemistry, biology, immunology, like all of those things, genetics, a good chance for you to be highly employable. If you do the mechanical engineering with the aerospace option, again, Winnipeg is the largest hub for aerospace in Western Canada. So anything to do with airplanes overhaul, maintenance, like those things, again, that's also very good for employment. So overall, which is good about Manitoba, if you kind of bring anything out of this, we don't have just one economy, which is kind of carries everything. There's a lot of developed economies where people can find employment. So, like some provinces in Canada, they may have one or two large kind of economy draws, and then if that sector crumbles, then everything crumbles. Manitoba is not like that. So we don't have one or two major ones. We have a lot of developed sectors in economy, and we don't have like any huge ups, but we also don't have huge downs. It's a steady growth all the time. You can be safe in knowing that whatever you do, you will be, steadily growing, which is a good feeling to have when you graduate from the university. Yeah.
I think there's a smart park also, no? Virginia Smart Park just besides the university,
Smart
where I
Hub is
think
just beside. Yes, yes. So that's
yeah.
a research facility just outside of the university. Yes, exactly, on the grounds of the university. Yeah, there's a lot
So the
of research stuff
students
going on.
can also apply co-ops in those, like there is a portal or something like that where students can
Um,
find
I
jobs.
I believe yes. So for the co-ops, and I should probably, sorry, thank you for reminding me
Yes,
about the
yes.
co-op opportunities. So as I was saying in the beginning, the co-op or the cooperative education, which is the paid work experience within the study period of the students, that is something widely available in the University of Manitoba, and I believe, well, not all of the programs, but majority of programs will have that option. So students will be taught how to find jobs. They will be taught how to, go about interviews, how to network, how to find those employment opportunities. And then in a lot of cases, students just stay on in the companies that they worked at. Once they've graduated, then because the companies know them, they know what they can do. So that is something that's also possible. So getting the Canadian work experience and exposure to that through co-op is really an invaluable addition to the program for students. And yeah, they can look on campus, like there may be some opportunities, but there may be others as well, like because the university has a great job. The co-op programs at the different faculties, they do great jobs of connecting students to the businesses and vice versa through different activities like fairs, career fairs, networking opportunities, like, cheese and wine type of thing like that. That's what they do. Yeah.
I think especially business programs, 97%
As
of the co-op people, I think they find the full-time employment once they
within
graduate
the
from
3 months,
the
yes, yeah.
program.
Who did co-op
Yes.
exactly? Yeah, yeah.
Generally, co-ops vis-a-vis Indian students. So because guys who done class 12 from India, generally they haven't done any work or any co-ops, any interns back in India. Very fresh, very raw. So how do
Yeah.
they cope with co-ops? How do they cope with co-ops? Any difficulties they face during co-ops, and how does the university help them?
Okay, yes. So this is actually a great question, and that's valid question because that always comes up. Like, I'm a brand new international student. How do I have that work experience? How do I go about it? So just to give you an idea, within the International Year One program, there's a course called IDM 1010 that ICM offers. It's the name of the course, which is Communication for Career. And that is the course that the students can take while they are still in their first year, which teaches them how to go about looking for jobs. So let's start easy. Let's start with looking for jobs, the resources that they can use, how to look for jobs, how to use AI in the search, for example, like those things. And then when they join the core programs, they have additional training on, the interview process, how to show themselves, the elevated pitch, like all of those things. Uh, Employers know the students from the University of Manitoba, and employers gladly have them because they know the quality of education that is being provided. So this is like the training ground for students, the co-op, right? And then by the end of the degree program, they would be successful because they have that exposure already through the co-op. They are trained. So basically the university helps them in the process throughout, beginning from the first year when they are at ICM. Yeah.
So Utkarsh had some very good thing to tell me. We were talking about this thing only before this webinar. He said now there's a shift in what the families expect, what the children expect. They don't say what degree will we get. They say what kind of job will we get after completion of the studies or during the studies. So co-op is a very good answer. Co-op is the foundation on which a student can build his or her career and can flourish in Canada.
True, true, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
coming to the next part of this webinar, once the student has completed his or her degree in University of Manitoba, what are the leverages he gets when applying for a permanent residency or staying back? What kind of leverages does he get?
Oh, okay. So all of the degrees, as we mentioned in the beginning of the conversation, all of the degrees from the University of Manitoba are PGWP eligible. So you would be eligible for the to apply for the post graduation work permit, right? And that is depending on usually it's a 3-year work permit, right, to kind of stay on. So that's the usual thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Utkarsh?
Basically, how the process is, the student gets into ICM. Again, after completing their first year from ICM, they go into the second year and third year and fourth year, which they do in University of Manitoba. The degree comes. Since it's a public institute and you are doing a degree, you get a 3 years right. So the entire journey
Mm-hmm.
becomes of 7 years, where you study for 4 years. So a lot of people have this confusion that I'm going to a pathway. The major misconception in North India, Punjab or Haryana in that case is, if I'm doing a pathway, I'm doing 5 years and not 4 years, or maybe I'm doing a year
No.
extra. That is only in the case of foundation program, where you have to do
Mm-hmm.
some extra credits or some extra term or extra terms. But if you are getting into international year one in ICM, it's a standard 4 year program. So, from a student's perspective, in terms of, I would say, in terms of cost, in terms of duration of study, it remains exactly the same. Again,
Okay.
4 year in a public institute, when you pass out, 3 years you can work. It is not necessary that you work in your own field. Obviously, it's advisable because you are more expert in that field after completing 4 years of education. But just because you have done a graduation in that, it does not restrict. If you are going into a diploma, etc., any other domain, there is some kind of a restriction that you have to work into this domain only. So that's a basic sort of comparison where you get the advantage, and it's not necessary you have to work in a same place. You can travel across Canada. The PGWP gives you that leverage. You can work anywhere across Canada. And again, after during your PGWB, you can get your full-time job in Manitoba. In any in-demand occupation, you have to find out where the demand is. And one thing, when I'm counseling the students, I always make sure, now the entire scenario for international education is changing, and I'll give you straight cut examples when I'm having a conversation. So, two students, both doing the same course from the same college, from the same program, everything is same. One gets a very good job, one is still struggling. And when I talk to the student that, what the second student has done differently, when I ask, they say, yes, I have done maybe data science. And the other student, how they answer is, yes, I have done data science, but I have done is, I have fine tuned one LLM. I have worked on an LLM for a maybe healthcare company in my co-op. So they have created that specialization for them. Maybe they have picked a project and they have worked upon a data set and they have put on GitHub. GitHub is a repository where you can work on project and put, which is public. Anybody can use. So when you are sitting in interviews talking to employers, you talk to them. You say, see, in just 3 minutes, I have built this product. Again, the certifications you do, maybe the first student never did a certification. Even if they did, maybe it's a general certification from a Udemy or any internet or maybe a small boot camp. The other student has done a proper Google certification of data science, or any data science ML engineer. So these kind of small differences in the student's perspective really creates a difference in their employability. And once the student goes through this awareness of the process, and they're counseled well, I really see the students who move on to the right track, they have a lot better chances to succeed in Canada, because going into a growing town like Winnipeg is always creating more opportunities, because they are going to graduate in next 4 years and not now. So within 4 years you'll reach again a second stage of development.
That's
So
true.
yeah, all these
Yes.
options are available for the
And
students.
regarding the PR pathways, Utkarsh and Janelia, you must agree that there's this Manitoba PNP programs are there, which are quite famous. And then the co-op option given by the university, coupled it up with some PGWP, you get extra strong express entry profile and extra points also. And then being from a U15 university means more CRS points versus with a diploma from a college or from some other place. So that also gives a leverage. So overall, it's a good package when you are planning to stay back or going for permanent residency. Manitoba is a good package. So uh, at end, I think we can just say sum up it like that. Some people think that it might be consolation. Going to Manitoba might be a consolation. Somebody didn't get admissions into top universities and then is going to Manitoba. But I say for the right student who's planned well, who's thinking ahead of the other students, this is one of the most underrated pathways. And the success he'll get here is I'll say it's easier to get success in Manitoba than in Toronto or in Vancouver.
It is true.
Yeah,
Well, think of it like this. So when you are in a large city, there may be more jobs, but it's also there's lots more people to compete with, right? But then when you are in a smaller or medium-sized city like Winnipeg is, there is still abundance of jobs, but there's less people to compete through, right? Or to compete with. So you have more chances of actually, being successful. So it's not a consolation prize at all, and that's a good university. It's a reputable U15 place to study, and again, it's a very affordable city. Students come to Winnipeg from the States. Students come to Winnipeg to study from all over Canada as well for the affordability of the place and for the
And
quality of education.
generally, I must say the total highlight of all these, we've been here for 45 minutes now. Highlight has been 4 jobs per graduate in the agriculture sector. That's my mind is spinning for that. That is something the students should grab, the parents should listen to it and plan accordingly.
Yes, I would maybe use the statistics of 1 in 9 jobs in Canada, because not just Manitoba, but just in Canada. So 1 in 9 jobs would be within the agri-food sector. So anything that is connected to the agriculture and, the production and the transportation, all of those, the things that are surrounding agriculture as well. Yeah, for sure.
So thank you very much for time, Janelia.
For
Today we
sure.
had some beautiful conversation, and I'm sure this is gonna help aspiring students and their families to make a decision, to take an informed decision. Thank you very much for joining in today, and
yeah,
thanks Utkarsh once again. You'll be again with me tomorrow. So tomorrow,
yeah.
guys, we'll be moving to another city. This will be Vancouver, where we will be having represented from FIC Fraser International College, from Simon Fraser University. It's say one of the most premium products in the Navitas kitty, and otherwise also Simon Fraser University might be a dream university for many of you. And getting into Simon Fraser through FIC
If I see,
is
yeah,
is like uh, quite an easy job. And once you prove yourself during the first year of the pathway, going through university in Simon Fraser University will be easy. Thanks again, guys. Thank you very much. And there's a question. Why people don't want to stay in this? This is a different kind of question. Keval Dillon is there. Why people don't want to stay in Manitoba? I think he wants to say that many people they study in Manitoba and then move on to other provinces for their PGWP. So is the situation like that, Janelia?
Well, I don't know. I came and I stayed and I love it. And, to each their own. So it's a free country. People can choose where they want to study, where they want to go after that. And I mean, I cannot say this for all people who have moved on. I know for a fact that there's lots of people who actually came and stayed. So I cannot just say people don't want to stay. They move across Canada for different reasons, for jobs, for family reasons. So, it may
That's
happen
very
to
subjective.
anybody. Yeah,
That's very
exactly. It's very,
subjective.
very subjective. Exactly. So the notion, and usually you hear bad stories more than you hear good stories, is another thing. Like,
yeah.
how you
And,
say, yeah.
and can you give me one statistics if you have over the past 10 years? How much has the population increased in the province?
Well, I know that in the past 5 years, we added about 50,000 people. So our mayor was speaking just recently about, that the city is growing and we're having more people coming in to stay on. So the census is, we just had the census in a couple of months ago. So we'll have the statistics of actually how many people we have at the moment. But the population was growing. And when it's growing, it means that we also have the infrastructure and the support systems for people who are coming into the city to then, settle. So, yeah. But I know that some people are leaving, but again, to each their own. So whoever likes it stays, whoever doesn't goes on. I
That's true
actually,
for all. That's true for all provinces in Canada. Some people leave
exactly,
Ontario, they come to Manitoba. Some people leave
exactly,
British Columbia, they go
exactly,
to Calgary. So that's fine.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
a free
So
country, is what I'm
thanks again,
saying. Yes,
guys. Thank
people
you
can
very
go.
much. Had wonderful conversation today, and looking forward to meet you, Janelia, when you are in India.
For
So
sure,
looking forward to that. And
for
guys,
sure.
we'll meet again tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. for Simon Fraser University. So join us tomorrow again. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
Thank
See,
you. See you. Thank you
thank
so
you,
much.
thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye.